The mission is not Canada. Canada is not the goal. Part of me was running away. You cannot run from yourself. If you don't know how to get a good job in your own country, Canada won't save you. I know a family right now that is packing up and post-immigration stress disorder. There's one thing that we all have in common, no matter what stage of our immigration journey we are at. And what are the 6 things that I would like to share with you? You're seeing my video because you are at some leg of your immigration journey. Some people are still in their home countries trying to figure out how to come to Canada. Some people have figured it out and they're on their way, or they just got here. Some people are figuring out how to become permanent residents and how on earth do I stay in Canada. And some people, like me, are settled Canadian immigrants or permanent residents and they've been here for several years. But there's one thing that we all have in common, no matter what stage of our immigration journey we are at. There is a life that we have to live after all the immigration dust settles. After all the paperwork is done, we have to go on and continue to adult. Whether that is in Canada or not, we have to carry on adulting. So, what can you look forward to as told by a 10-year Canadian immigrant? Or what's next for you at this stage of life if you've been here for almost 10 years or 10 years or more? Our immigration stories feature for the month of March is me. Yours truly. 2024 marks my 10th year anniversary of moving to Canada. In January of 2014, I jumped on a plane after jumping through many hurdles for several months after my first visa was rejected and I came to Canada as an international student. If you don't know my journey, you can check out more later on. But I became a citizen 5 years after moving to Canada, and now I'm here for 10 years. And what are the 6 things that I would like to share with you to help you along your journey and things you should consider for your future 10 years older self? There's one big lesson I learned from my 10-year-old journey. Don't prioritize your immigration goals over your career and life goals. It is so easy to come here and focus on the mission that is Canada. The mission is not Canada. Canada is not the goal. The goal is the lifestyle. It's the lifestyle that you want to live. And Canada, just like money, is a tool or a conduit to help you to get that goal. It's not about moving to Canada. It's about moving to Canada to live a certain lifestyle. And if you prioritize just getting through the immigration paperwork, just getting settled as a Canadian, you could jeopardize part of your journey or all of your journey if you get too comfortable in a cushy position or a cushy place. Or you could be in a position where it's not cushy at all, but out of fear, you don't want to make any changes, or you think that it's too late to start over, and you end up doing something that you don't like for far longer than you planned or ever would have wanted for yourself. It is very easy to do that. It's very easy to fall into that trap. I end up working at a place doing something that I never even saw myself doing because it met the criteria for immigration. And yes, I grew within the company and they treated me well, but it was not what I was planning to do. And I left a lot of money on the table because I made that decision. I stayed for far longer than I probably should have because I did not plan out what the career part was going to look like. And I share a little bit about this in my book when I'm telling you my story in chapter 1. And it says, I had a little silent sob staring through the window on the way to the airport. And I'm 100% certain I did not sleep on the plane. But I was probably in shock, numb, displaced from myself. This was happening. This was really happening. I was so focused and determined. I didn't think of life beyond the mission. And the mission was to finally get my student visa and get to Canada. Don't set yourself up to be in a position where you say, after I get to Canada, I'll figure it out. I'll do whatever it takes to get there. And after I get there, I'll figure it out. Most times there is no figuring out because you can't manage to adult and figure it out and deal with life's hurdles and changes and the economy and inflation all at the same time. It's better to have a plan. Yes, things can happen and things can change along the way, but it is better to come and have a clear vision for your career goals, a clear vision for your immigration goals, and let them work together. Now, a lot of people fall into the trap and they end up hating their jobs, doing it for far longer than they want to do it. And then they compromise out of fear, because sure is better than unsure. And then, unless the perfect opportunity falls into their lap, they end up staying there for their lifetime, until retirement or until they get fired or something happens and they have to change. But I'm urging you to prioritize both and make the change before you are forced to make the change, or before you think it's too late to make the change. Okay? And also, if you just take whatever, in terms of whatever pay, whatever responsibilities, whatever treatment, and you stay there for longer than you intend to, you set a precedent for what you're willing to accept with that employer. So if you're willing to accept low pay, you will forever be underpaid and be trying to play catch up with the economy, versus going where you are watered and you are treated with respect and valued and paid fairly. Canada is not your mission. Canada isn't your goal. The lifestyle that you're after is the goal. Okay. Number 2 is spilling over a little bit from number 1, but it's a little bit different. And the theme is, wherever you go, there you are. When I left Jamaica for Canada back in 2013, leaving in 2014, part of me was running away. Now, Canada was always kind of in my desire. I had always desired to move to Canada or North America, somewhere there, and I even tried to see how feasible it would be to do my undergraduate studies in Canada, but it was too expensive. Canada or Australia, it was too expensive, and so I didn't even bother trying to pursue it. Now, the dream was rekindled when we were getting ready to end university, when somebody else brought it into my consciousness again, saying, what about Canada? I'm like, I don't know if I can afford this, but let's see. And I got the information, and through loads we were able to afford it. So Canada was always kind of on the table. But there was 6 months leading up to my departure to Canada. Within that 6 months, a lot of what was driving me and driving my determination was the magic carpet of a broken heart. My heart was freshly broken, and I was ready to start over a new life. I didn't want to see another Toyota Starlet. I didn't want to drive past the Holiday Inn. I just wanted a new life. I was ready to just start over. And so I saw Canada as that first start, and outside of my career goals and my education goals, part of the fire that was under my ass. And the reason why I'm bringing this in is not telling my business, but it's like, wherever you go, there you are becomes relevant in that story, because little did I know that an even worse fate awaited me in my new life in Canada, where I experienced the absolute worst relationship experience that I've ever had in my whole life. And the reason this is relevant in my story and why I'm telling you this is because Canada will not save you, and Canada will not solve the problems that you need to solve internally. And new life will not solve the problems that you need to solve internally and on your own within yourself, no matter where you are in the world. Whether you stay where you are or you move, Canada won't solve your problems. I want to help you to understand that there is a role that we're playing in our own lives that we have to take responsibility for. When we accept less than we deserve, we allow people to devalue us, and we make decisions from a disempowered place or from a scarcity mindset. And this can go beyond relationships. This is in the job world, this is with our clients, and this is with how we just deal with people who are closely associated with us in general. How do we allow people to treat us? What do we accept? What we deserve? And you cannot run from yourself. And where there are repeated patterns in your life, like the way how people show up and you allow them to show up, if it's happening in multiple relationships in your life, this is a point where you kind of have to stop and be like, okay, hold on. Why do I keep choosing the same thing over and over and over and over and over? and we had to take responsibility for that decision. Moving to Canada did not save me, and it will not save you. I didn't do the work to heal, and it made me make decisions from a disempowered place that cost me time, that cost me money, that cost me my peace, that cost me my health, and it almost cost me my Canadian dream. There's a part that I mentioned, I left a little hint of this in my book, where I said, one day, maybe, I'll write about how heartbreak can catapult you into productive, positive, and life-changing directions. Now, I'm glad I was able to take the energy from that negative experience and fuel it into something that was very life-changing for me. Moving to Canada was and has been an amazing thing in my life, and I wouldn't change it for anything. And you know how I said one day I would start writing the story? So I started writing the story. And part of this experience is what led me to writing my second book, but my first book in the realm of inner work and healing. So that started my shadow work book series, Uncover Your Authentic Self Through Shadow Work. And my second book in this series is coming out later this month. It is a journal and coloring book, and it can help you to uncover some of the things that you have been hiding from, the self that you've been hiding from, to help you to make better decisions in your life, whether it is Canada or not Canada. And really, some of the questions you need to ask yourself is, why Canada? Do I think that I'm going to get to Canada and there's going to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Well, there isn't. Okay? So don't run from yourself. Don't hide from yourself. If you want to check these out, the link is in the description, and look out for book 2, which is coming later on in March. If you don't know how to get a good job in your own country, Canada won't save you. If you don't know how to negotiate salary and get what you're worth, Canada will not save you. If you're afraid to leave shore for onshore, and if you lack the financial literacy to make good financial decisions in your life so that you can live the life that you want to live, Canada won't save you. And if you think that Canada will, it's time for you to start doing some inner work. Check out the books. Number 3, invest in good winter gear. These are not new to you if you are not new to my channel. I made a video about this back in 2019, and these boots are my 10-year-old winter boots. These boots are 10 years old and they have held up strong. Them still have the grip under the bottom. Them don't rub off or rub down, and they're still keeping me nice and warm, and they're stylish as far as I'm concerned anyway. They're keeping me nice and warm. I've never slipped, I've never fallen, and they have held up very, very strong. So invest in good. These were $150 when I bought them, and $150 when you're just buying a shoes, you're like, what? $150? But $150 of a quality shoe. This is a quality brand. They have different types and different styles that can last you for 10 years. These shoes are 10 years old and they've held up strong. They have a little bit of strippy here, so, but for the most part they're in perfect shape, perfect order. Part of it is keeping them nice and, you know, cared for. Not that in the last couple of years I probably haven't cared for them very well, but they've held up strong and them look good same way. 10 years strong. They have never failed me. Number 4, making friends or community and networking. Now, for a good year and a half when I was here, it was just me, one, and God. There was a time when I was walking from the gym and I was walking behind a bush, and I thought to myself, if something were to happen to me behind this bush, nobody would realize for a good couple of days. And that thought kind of scared me, and so I stopped walking behind the bush. Whenever it came to that part, I walk right on the roadside. Now, it's easy to not make friends. It's easy to feel alone. It's easy to feel isolated, because making friends in adulthood, I think, once you're outside of school, is work. You have to put work into finding people, maintaining the friendships. Like, I don't know how many times me and friends have booked, like, yeah man, let's get together, let's do this together, and it just doesn't happen, right? I mean, of course, in the advent of technology and post-COVID, everything is virtual, but even a virtual world can help you to feel very, very lonely. Now, when I was here throughout my journey, somebody found me on LinkedIn and connected me with a network of people who were chasing financial freedom and who were talking about financial literacy. And being a part of that community changed my life forever. It showed me the world of entrepreneurship, and it taught me about financial literacy, personal development, and taught me to read books. Like, not that we don't need to learn how to read books, but you know, when you go to school and you learn literature, you're reading all these random fiction books, Macbeth and A Co-Called Boy and all these things, and I don't like fiction books. And I know now that, having been a part of that community, like, oh wait, there's these personal development books that I really, really like, and I will read them, and I will even write some too, right? So you have to be very intentional about making friends. My little group of friends initially was like the people at work, and we didn't really do anything much outside of work, but I became part of that network, and associated with people who were making a lot of money, and so I got some of their, you know, their good vibes and their good energy. And then I became more involved in my church, my local church, and they are who I'm most closely associated with now. And it's really something that you have to be extremely intentional about. It's so easy, especially in maybe the Toronto areas. I think other provinces people might be a little bit more friendly relatively. In the Toronto, I'm finding that because there's so many people, everybody's in their head, and you can literally be in the elevator and people can come into the elevator, look you straight in the eye and don't say hi. Come here, stand up beside you, press them button and go on about them business, and them not say good morning, good evening, or good night. And sometimes you have to make the first move. You have to take the initiative. That if you're trying to make friends, you're gonna have to just get out there and talk to people and put yourself out there. Sign up for networking events, go talk to people, go to meetups, you know, make your own little groups, and find even your local community in terms of the country that you're from. So like the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council for Jamaicans, and I don't know what it's called for other people, but I'm sure that you guys have a local chapter of something of the sort to connect with people who are in Canada, who are like-minded, who have some level of like relatability. If you are in Canada and you're nearby the Durham region, I'm having a paint party next weekend. That's another place you can come and make friends. Look out for the events that I have or things that I partner with the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council to help to bring people together, to help you guys to make friends, but also to be in community. 5, live a little. Live a little. Don't take this immigration thing so seriously. Don't take life so seriously. It's not the end of the world if you have to go back to your country, because going back to your country doesn't mean that your Canadian dream has ended. It just means that you may have to do some processing in your country and then come back. But live a little. This immigration journey can be so stressful. I'm coining a term. You heard it here first, and I'm patenting it. Boom, patent, stamp of patent. Yeah. It is called post-immigration stress disorder. Immigration can be so stressful, and for me it was the first like 3 years up until I was a permanent resident. I remember when my godbrother said, oh, you're coming home for Christmas, or what you doing this Christmas? And this would have been like early in the year in 2016. And I remember just saying to him, like, look, there is an application that is in process right now and I can't see past it. It's like a wall right here, so, and I can't see past it. I don't know what life will look like beyond it. So don't ask me any questions about the future. Ask me about now. That is how I felt. That is literally how I felt. It was so stressful. I was on edge, and a lot of people are experiencing that right now. But if you just stop and check the facts, right? Are you eligible to become a permanent resident in Canada? Yes. Are you eligible now? No. Will you be eligible in a year? Probably. Are there other programs that you can explore? Maybe. And don't be afraid to invest in getting help to find out what it is. Pay for an immigration consultant. Pay for somebody to help you to figure it out, because people have the knowledge already and they know how to apply it to your life and your situation. So don't sit there stressing. Live a little. I have been in Canada for 10 years. I've never snowboarded. I have never skied. I have never been to St. Lawrence Market. There's a library that is like 15 minutes away from me, or even 10, even shorter than 15 minutes, that has always been in the community, in the city that I live in. And the first time I went there was last week Friday, after 10 years of being in Canada. for no reason, right? And the thing is that, like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I sat down and just stared at my computer all day long. That's not what I did, or went to work. Like, I did travel quite a bit. I've been to places that I never imagined that I would have. I used to visit, before COVID, I would visit Jamaica at least twice a year. So I didn't do nothing, right? But I don't know that I lived, when I was here, I did only like productive things. I only went to work. I had very little fun, and there's no value in doing that to yourself. Build some fun into your journey, and don't focus too much on the destination, and be present in the journey. Have a little bit of fun, work within your budget, and relax a little bit. Don't take it so seriously. Don't take it too seriously. I know it's a serious endeavor and it's life-changing and all that stuff, but coming from where I am in hindsight, I wish I had breathed a little and lived a little. Number 6, the final one: do your research. Make an informed decision about coming to Canada. When I say make an informed decision, it's not just about an informed decision about coming to Canada and know everything about Canada. Make an informed decision if anybody's telling you not to come to Canada as well, because you have to make an informed decision to know whether you should listen to them or not, right? And similarly, for somebody who's saying, yes, come to Canada. Canada is not for everybody, and everybody will not have the same experience. And because everybody will not have the same experience, you shouldn't let anybody discourage you from it, but also don't let anybody just say, yeah man, it's easy. Do your research so you know for yourself. Even if you are sitting with an immigration consultant or an immigration lawyer that is telling you, yes man, you can go to school in Canada and then you can stay, do not leave. I'm going to advise you to do this. And if you're watching this, just before you make the decision, don't leave your country without having a full understanding of what the journey is going to look like for you. There are a lot of people in Canada right now who were told, yeah man, do this, go this way, get this LMIA, get this work permit, go to school, whatever the case may be, without having an understanding of the full journey. And some of them are coming to the end of their journey and don't have a way to stay in Canada. I know a family right now that is packing up and leaving because there is no way for them to stay within the context that they are able to stay. They're leaving Canada. Okay, so don't leave your country without having an understanding of what the process would look like and what the possibilities look like for you. It doesn't need to be a perfect story. It doesn't need to be all figured out, but you need to know, if you do this, then this will happen and you will go along this route. Otherwise, this route, otherwise, go back home. Have an understanding. But also, in all of your planning and figuring out, understand that life changes, and because life changes, you will need to, your Canadian dream or your journey may have to adjust based on changing life needs. I came here as a single individual. I'm not accountable to nor child, and my life changed. I have a little one now. I have to think about her needs. I have to think about the needs of my parents back at home. My life evolved, and so my needs changed, and so I try to be flexible with those. When I signed up to come to Canada, I signed up for options. Not forever. I signed up for options. And next week, stay tuned for when I tell you about the time when I left Canada and why I once left Canada. If you're interested in studying in Canada and want to have a full understanding of the route from foreign student to Canadian citizen, go download the 19 steps for free. Link is in the description below. It will tell you the 19 steps it took me to go from sitting at home in Jamaica to becoming a Canadian citizen in Canada 5 years later. It'll tell you all those 19 steps, and that download is available for free in the link in the description below. And if you want to know my full story of how it came together for me and all the in-betweens of the steps and the tips and the tricks that you need to know to have a successful journey, my ebook and audiobook is available at 75% off for the month of March, my birthday month. So it's like 10 years around the sun, 10 years in Canada, 10 more years around the sun, 10 years in Canada. So you can get this for 75% off, which is just $5 on my website as an audiobook and ebook. An audiobook is going to be easy for you to listen and just get a full comprehensive journey that way awaits you ahead if you're coming to school in Canada. If this video was helpful for you, please hit the like button, share it with anybody who would be helpful for, subscribe, and come back for more videos just like this. I appreciate you and the time you take to watch these videos. I hope this was helpful for you and valuable. Next week, let's talk about the time I left Canada and my unpopular opinion about why people are leaving Canada. See you in the next video.